Hi, welcome to Talking Books and Stuff, the program that talks all about books and writing and stuff. Here's your host, Dennis Rimmer.
Welcome back. It's Talking Books and Writing and stuff like that. And today we're talking about songs and music and writing and stuff like that with Steve Kudlow, Steve Lips Kudlow from Anvil. Metal on metal. That's what I crave. So, Steve, how you doing today?
I'm doing okay.
How's the last 18 months been treating you guys?
Oh, not that bad. I wrote another album. We put out an album, went and did 17 shows, and then got sent back from Europe because of the pandemic. And after we got home, I wrote another album.
So it hasn't been too detrimental, except maybe in the income side of things.
Well, the income part of this stuff really sucks because basically it was all money going out rather than anything coming in. So,
right.
But the strong survive. You know, that's the thing. We're a thriving. We are a thriving business, and we've been doing very well. Obviously, since the movie came out, some 12, 15 years ago.
Yes.
We hadn't stopped working since until this pandemic. So we're going to get through, and coming this August, we go and record our 19th studio album and begin the tour, or finish the tour that we started a year and a half ago.
So we're talking with Lips, the head guy or the lead singer, guitarist, songwriter for Anvil. Anvil's been around since the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, now into the 2020s. And Steve, it's basically been you and Rob. So when did the two of you first met? Like, who met who first?
Well, I was in grade 11, I guess. I guess I just turned 17, maybe, and there was a guy in my biology class that asked, he saw that I was drawing pictures of guitars in my science book, and he goes, "Hey, you play guitar?" And I went, "Yeah." He goes, "So do I. Why don't we have a jam this weekend?" So I went to a jam on the weekend, which is a couple of blocks from my house, and he invited Rob, who was also within a few houses away, and that's how we met. It was actually quite remarkable in a sense, because when we started jamming, we weren't playing songs that we knew. I was making them up on the spot, and Rob was able to play along with me without any problem, but the other guitar player kind of stood there and goes, "What the fuck are you guys playing?" And I'm going, "We don't know. We're making it up as we go." The guy goes, "How do you do that? How can you guys know what each other are doing?" And we're going, "We don't know. We just do." And it's been that magic ever since, really.
So you and Rob are kind of like the Sedin twins of heavy metal.
Yeah, I mean, we started out like that. We just, the thing is that makes me kind of different, and maybe I'm not as different as I think I am, in the sense that when I went to start learning how to play, I didn't learn by actually copying or trying to figure out what somebody else did. I just started fiddling with my guitar and making stuff up, and that's how I learned. And if it sounded like something that I heard before, I thought, wow, okay, well, I guess I'm learning how to play.
I guess. So what age were you when you first picked up the guitar?
I was 10.
So you were banging away for 6 or 7 years before you kind of hooked up with Rob then, eh?
That's right, exactly. And by then I had dozens of pieces of music that I never played with anybody, and I started playing with them, and it's like, wow, this is really, really fucking cool. and you know, we were one of those kind of weird things, and all the other kids in the neighborhood who played thought we were nuts because they're going, you can't play your own songs. You're you know what I mean? And we're going, well, yes, we can, and we are. And of course, they couldn't judge us or sort of come to realize whether we're good or bad because we're not playing songs they knew.
So what kind of
you couldn't be criticized because how are you going to criticize what you don't know?
Exactly.
And it was kind of a great way for us to get away with being good without having to live up to expectations of, hey, you're playing Foxy Lady by Jimi Hendrix perfectly. We didn't do that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They can't tell whether we're good or bad. They're just hearing music coming from us, and it's like, okay, that's cool, but are you guys good? I don't know. You know, it's like that kind of thing.
So the first gathering or iteration of Anvil, what later became Anvil, was Lips. Now, where did that name come from?
Well, what initially happened is we had decided to. Well, we both joined this band called Kickback initially. Now, Kickback had was comprised of actually the guitar player from Saga.
Yep.
That was actually his. It was his band, and he had this jolly blonde giant singer that was actually in a movie that never got released called The Metal Messiah. And they had this band Kickback, and of course Ian Crichton left the band and to make a band with his brother Saga, with his brother Jim. So that Jim and Ian made the band Saga, and Rob and I were in this band Kickback. Well, that lasted about a week or two. We went out and did one show up in, well, not one show, it was 1 week up in Quebec, and then we played sort of a major venue in Toronto, here where we come from, with hopes that we're going to get more work. Well, of course, I'd learned 30 songs in less than a week, and I didn't really particularly have the greatest stage presence because I was so busy looking at my guitar neck and concentrating on what the hell I was playing. The singer started punching me in the kidneys as we're playing to try to make me jump around. And after the show, I just said to Rob, I go, well, that's it, man. I'm not going to put up with this. Like, forget it. Let's make our own band. And he goes, you know what? I agree. Let's make our own band. And that's what we did. And what happened was, of course, we're thinking of a name, and he's going, well, you know, we can model it some way after Ted Nugent, in the sense that we should call it maybe after your nickname. And since your nickname is Lips, let's just call the band Lips. And of course, I'm going, well, I'm not crazy about the idea, but what the hell?
Go for it.
So that's how it all started out. But by the time it came to get the record deal, when we went into the label, we had the first album all finished and recorded, but we had an album cover with a lip print on it, and of course it said Lips, Hard and Heavy. Well, the label goes, well, that's all well and fine, except that this isn't going to work. People are not going to know that this is heavy metal by a band called Lips. It's like, especially with bands like Horse Lips or Lips Incorporated, if people are going to think you're a disco band or something.
Yes.
So you guys rethink what you're doing and come back with a better name. So Rob all of a sudden came up with the idea, let's call the band Anvil, and it fits with the title Hard and Heavy. And we went, yeah, it does. Good idea. What the hell? We'll go with that. And that's what we did. And of course, when we told the label, they went berserk. They thought it was amazing. They're going, that's an inanimate object. This is great for marketing. Nothing could say heavy metal more prominently than an Anvil. Like,
exactly.
What the hell?
With a big sledgehammer going smash, smash. I mean, that's Anvil. That's metal music right there. Just bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, so interestingly, of course, we had the alliteration title of Hard and Heavy, but not with much forethought as to what we were going to do next. So when we finished the first album and it'd been out and we'd gone and toured, and of course, some of the first shows that we actually did as Anvil was doing 2 shows with Motorhead here in Toronto. And so there we were at our first gig, and we're calling the band Anvil. And, I mean, it kind of like refocused everything. And with the influence of an understanding of what Motorhead was and playing with them, it was like, wow, okay, I know what I want to do. These guys have got the right idea. It's like sort of like Deep Purple on steroids. Yeah, I like that. We kind of took it to a different place. I mean, obviously, we had 2 guitar players. There's a fair bit of difference between Anvil and Motorhead, but yet the influences were very, very similar, because both Lemmy and I loved the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, but of course, very obviously the prog stuff and the particularly Deep Purple, the faster oriented stuff, and also punk to a certain level, because it was so raw. In any case, after we did the shows with Motorhead, and we began writing for our second album, and we were called Anvil, I picked up my guitar and I played the riff for Metal on Metal, and it just like magic, I just go, that's Metal on Metal. That's what that is. That's what that riff is saying to me. So, and then Rob went, okay, well that's cool. And every line in the song can start with Metal on Metal, da 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 da, Metal on Metal, da 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 da. And we went, okay. And within 5-10 minutes, the whole song was written. and that's, well, there you go. The almighty song that we didn't really take the time and you know, really think about it. It just came really quick. And the other thing, it wasn't that high integrity. It wasn't a difficult song to play. And we kind of didn't, like, I personally didn't think a hell of a lot of it. I just thought, well, it's another great song. Yeah, great, whatever. But Mothra blows it away. Like, in my humble opinion, Mothra 666, Jackhammer, way better song, in my opinion. And quite frankly, to this day, I still feel the same. But what becomes the actual commercial aspect of what everybody gets to know as Anvil is the song Metal on Metal. So am I disappointed? No. Am I happy? Yes. Is it fulfilling? Yes. Have I been trying to outdo it ever since? Yes.
Yes.
But you can't outdo what comes by natural. It's what it is, and that's it.
So,
and whatever you write after it is what it is. So it's not. It's just a matter of, it's rolling dice. You know, anything can happen, and that's what I've really learned. And if anything I've learned is, don't try to steer fuck all. Do what comes natural. And that's what I learned.
And
sit down, smoke a joint, play your guitar, come up with some stuff, have a good time, and that's how you do it. You don't sit there, I'm going to write a commercial song now. Let me see. Let me think of a title. You know, it's like, it doesn't work like that.
This is
At least
Steve.
it doesn't work like that for me. And I'm never looking for the hit single. Never have looked for a hit single. Never really wanted a hit single. Because quite frankly, commercial music and real metal are two different things. I didn't want to become a hair band. I didn't want to become, Motley Crue. I mean, yeah, it would be nice to have the money and the success, but to not have the personal integrity in the sense that I didn't sell out, I could never do that. It's not part of what makes me me. I've come really close to having hit singles, but in a certain sense, because I'm psychologically fucking twisted in a certain sense, I'll do things to those commercial aspects of my sound and ruin it with a bad lyric.
Well, your lyrics...
You're looking for a doggy treat, looking for a bitchin' heat. That's not going to get you on the radio, man.
You have
But certainly, I'm a mad dog. I'm a mad bad dog. I mean, it's a great hook line. You can remember it.
Yeah.
Because the video was awesome, but the radio wasn't going to play it because you can't say looking for a bitchin' treat, looking for a bitch in heat, begging for a doggy treat is not going to get you on the radio. It's just as simple as that.
I would put it on the radio, but then...
Yeah, you put it on the radio, and there were, and MTV played it, and from what actually I do understand, it got banned. You can't see the Mad Dog video on regular TV anymore. God only knows why.
Oh.
But maybe it's that particular line, because right now, we're living the cancel culture. Everything is getting canceled. If it's any way risque whatsoever, or anything that might be construed as inappropriate, is removed. It's more. We've got more censorship today than we did in the 80s. It's insane. Anyway, but that's a whole other world of discussion in any case. But there you go. That's how I kind of perceive it all.
And this is Steve Kudlow from Anvil, and discussing his musical philosophy. So how many Anvil LPs are there out there? 19 or 20?
Well, there's 18 studio albums right now, and we're about to go record the 19th. So, yeah, we're working on getting 20.
Not too many bands have been around for 20 LPs.
No. Hey, the guy who wins is the guy who writes the most songs. That's the guy who wins. It's not how many you sold. It's how much work did you get done in your lifetime. That's what it's really all about.
And you seem to like songs that have 3-word titles and like rhyming couplets, two-line couplets.
Titles of our albums are all 3-word titles.
Ah, right. Like, let's see, what do we got here? Forged in Fire and Strength, what is it?
Hard and Heavy, Pound for Pound.
Yeah.
Strength is...
That's what
we can keep going.
We can
Plugged in Permanent.
Anyway, they're all wonderful titles. Prove you wrong, you must stay strong. Eat your words. I love that one. So now you've settled...
Yeah, your words, yeah. That was going out to all the naysayers, I suppose, yeah.
Yep. You've settled on a 3-piece power trio. Is that kind of like your favorite lineup, or would you rather have maybe another guitar in there?
No, we found that actually the second guitar couldn't be more redundant and expensive. It's an expensive way to get nothing done. It added nothing. It didn't. At the end of the day, it was actually so bad. It actually just became a complete detriment, because you got somebody sitting around in the studio for 6 weeks doing nothing. It's just, what am I doing? What? And you're paying them. Like, what? Why?
What?
And why is he doing nothing? Well, when you try to record with 2 guitars, bass and drums, actually makes it very difficult to get a tight bed track. So what ends up happening is you record all your bed tracks, which we have done on every record. Okay?
Yes.
All our records are done in three piece as the bed track, because when you add the fourth or the fourth member, it clouds and it makes it difficult for the guitar to hear the precise attack of the edge of the drums, as well as the bass. You can't hear things when the other instrument is in the mix. So when you've got three completely different instruments being played in a bed track, you got guitar, bass, and drums. Those are three completely different instruments. You can hear yourself completely clearly. When you add an instrument of the same instrument, now you've clouded your mix. You're not going to hear yourself or the other two instruments clearly. So all of our bed tracks were done as three-piece. And then when you get to the overdub situation, you add the second guitar. And what we discovered as time went along, the second guitar could never play tight to me.
So just never getting the right...
Because it's not the same wrist. It's not the same person. It's not the same hands. You need a different sound, but you need it to be tight. It has to be tight. So what was happening? I was recording all the fucking guitars.
Anyway, so you might as well...
Anyway.
Yeah. So
everyone goes, hey man, I like Anvil better as a four-piece. And I'm going, you're all fucking deaf.
That was me anyway.
No, it's like everybody's fucking deaf. You've been listening to Anvil as a three-piece all along.
What's this?
It's so fucking dumbass. It's beyond ridiculous. Anyway, that's one aspect. And you know what? If you fucking, I'm telling the world that, but are they going to listen? They're going to always say you guys were better with a four-piece because they had it there to compare it with, and it was their first impression, and you can never get a first impression twice.
Correct.
No matter what you do. So if their first impression was this band is a four-piece, so therefore it's a four-piece, no matter what the fuck I do afterwards or how I present it. Because even though it was three-piece being recorded, okay? People looked at the picture and they saw four guys. It's a four-piece. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes. They see four people.
Because
so
you can't discern. I remember listening to those early Judas Priest albums. I didn't know who was KK and who was Glenn Tipton. I couldn't. Which guitar player is which? I don't know. Who cares? It just sounds good to me. and until much later, and when you actually could ever see live stuff, you didn't realize who was playing when. Okay? To a good degree, and that's what happens in two guitar player bands. So a lot of times you don't know who is actually playing when the playing is going on until you actually see the band live and go, oh fuck, that guy did that. Oh well, I didn't know that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Listen. I went through most of my young days thinking that Brian Jones was the lead guitarist of the Rolling Stones. He wasn't the lead guitarist.
No.
He was the rhythm guitarist.
Yes.
Keith Richards was the lead guitarist. Why? Why was I under that assumption? I don't know. But I'm just saying that's what happens with. I'm just talking about two guitar player bands in general and what that actually does. I mean, obviously we all knew that John Lennon played rhythm guitar because he was doing so much singing, right?
Right.
And that was totally understandable. Same way as we understand and completely comprehend the fact that Paul Stanley plays rhythm guitar because he was doing most of the singing for Kiss, right?
Right.
but I mean, those are other types of examples of two guitar player bands, and the type of thing that we were doing was strictly rhythm guitar. So what was going on, unless you actually separate the two rhythms, you couldn't tell the difference. And only when there was a complete separation of our parts did Dave play his. There was actually, I let the guy do his part, right?
Right.
It's not my part. Do your part. So those are the places on our albums where we were actually 4-piece. But like songs like Bedroom Game, 666, Winged Assassins, Jackhammer, Motor Mount, Free as the Wind. I mean, I can go. All those kind of songs were always recorded 3-piece. Impossible to do any other way because they're fast, especially the fast songs. Really, really important to do it as 3-piece. You're never going to get it tight. And of course, I'm playing the second guitar. How are you ever going to get that perfectly tight? Everybody goes slightly different, right?
Right.
One guy's going to play wider or thicker, and it's going to mush up the other sound. You need two really tight sounds there. Now it sounds like two guitar players playing. I would use the other guy's equipment and strings, and that's a physicality that makes it automatically sound different, and away you go. That's how you record basic fundamental tracks, so that you can get you got a good powerful rhythming song, right?
Right.
And then I would overdub my lead guitar parts wherever they're going to go. And what happened in the last stages of the two lead guitar players during the recording of 13, of course, it was painstaking getting everything done, but that's besides the point. And you know, in most cases, I can do all the soloing on the whole album within 2 days' work. Now, what happened? And that's a lot of lead guitar playing to do in 2 days. You know, you're talking 13 or 14 songs to play solos in, and you get it done in 2 days. That's a lot of playing. But I'm not, and trust me, I'm not bragging about it. It's not. It's, to me, that's pretty standard. You know, it takes you a couple hours to get through a solo section. So you can get 6 or 7 songs done, no problem.
No problem.
Anyway, so the issue was, it became Ivan's turn to play the lead guitar, and we had, I think, 2 songs for him to play lead guitar in, and there was something where he went back and forth with me in a couple places. Maybe it's kind of vague to me at this point. In any case, it took him 2 days to do 3 songs.
Oh. Well, that's I'm not.
Well, no. Well, I mean, and okay, and this was his working period in fucking 45 days. In 45 days, he did nothing. You know, or 40 within 42 days, he did absolutely nothing. Right?
Okay.
And
right.
3 days he played his lead guitar that should have taken him no more than 6 hours.
I can understand the problem. So your audience is
so it's like, what the fuck? And okay, now this is really frustrating, because now I have to sit through his recording.
Right.
So I'm producing it. So in other words, why am I I'm telling him how and what is acceptable to play. Why don't I just fucking play it myself?
This is Anvil.
You follow what I'm saying? Yep. I'm even going through the time to do the other guy's solo. And I'm taking longer to do his solo than to do all my solos. It's just ridiculous, okay? I I can't put up with it. I can't, and I won't put up with it anymore. That's it. I'm done. It's not, and you know, at the end of the day, no one ever talked about it. No one ever gave a shit. You know, and that's what that was even more frustrating in the sense. Okay, like the first attack at all this with the two guitars, that in my personal humble opinion, where it actually made a difference, was in the Worth the Wait album. Right? Sebastian Marino is a phenomenal guitar player. It was great work. We worked very hard to work together to produce what we did on that record. That was a really well thought out and well executed two guitar player album work. And that's all well and fine, because everything after it was sort of, I'm doing all the same thing that I did on Worth the Wait, but with another guy, but I'm not having the same success, in the sense that, not that he didn't play as well, I wasn't enjoying going through it. At least with Sebastian, he would sit and figure out precisely what he was going to do and execute it quickly. So I wasn't sitting around for 12 hours waiting for him to play 3 seconds of guitar solo. Okay, that's the biggest difference. So it became a real chore to record Ivan. And it's specifically Ivan. Maybe another guitar player would have been, maybe I wouldn't be where I am right now, but it's as a result. And that's okay, but at the end of the day, I think it ended up the best it ever could possibly ever have been, because the way that it is as this three pieces, we got a phenomenal, absolutely insanely great bass player, as great as our drummer is. You know, something that is somebody that is at the same level of expertise that Robb Reiner is, and we've never had that. We've never had that.
So that's
until we got
Chris.
Until we got Chris Robertson. This guy is amazing player. It's a world great. In my opinion, it's a world great. It's not saying somebody is the best. He's the best bass player Anvil ever had. That's for sure. No question about that.
Now, does he?
He's the best bass player in the band. Let's say that way too.
Now he plays a five.
I don't like going on that the best. There's no such thing as the best. There's only the different. But in this particular case, this is somebody that really knows how to play within the parameters of Robb's double bass drum playing. It's just shit. I can't believe what's going on at this point. And now here we are here doing the 4th or 5th album with him, and the difference is astronomical. Like what we've been working on the newest album is beyond. I'm speechless over it. It's actually wow. Because the bottom line is the longevity of being able to work things out. You're not gig, write a bunch of songs, gig, write a bunch of songs, go and record, right?
Right.
It wasn't like that. It was like, write these songs and rehearse them, play them every day for a year. We never had that really developing. The basic fundamental songs have not changed since the onset, but the actual, the accompaniment to my playing is gone through such a process. It's just unbelievable what's gone on between the bass playing and the drumming. they've had the opportunity to discuss things and work out the most finest details. I've never heard anything like this. It's just unbelievable, bass runs that go with tom-tom rolls, and it's like, my God, man, you guys wrote all your fills together, and some of it is really complex. It's like you don't get to do shit like this that often. It's going to be, to me, I think we're going to be recording a masterpiece. That's what I think is coming. It's something I don't think we've ever had. The difference in having a bass player like this is huge. The other aspect of this bass player that is actually even more phenomenal and adding the biggest difference to Anvil's sound is singing. His singing ability is far beyond anybody else we've ever had sing. I'm not having him sing songs on his own, and we have reasons for that. That adds to disfocus, and I'm not going to do that ever again.
Right.
That's a whole other issue. It has nothing to do with whether Chris is good enough to do it, because there is no question about whether he's good enough to do it. It's not about that. It's about keeping focal points, and I experimented with that with Glenn 5 on the Juggernaut album, and he sang one song and then walked around saying that everybody is saying that it's the best song on the album. So I went, you know what? Psychologically, that doesn't work.
No. Steve, we're going to have to...
Look at what it turned that into.
Yeah.
Look at what that... Was it the best song on the album? I don't think so, and I don't think anybody else thinks so. I just think he thought so, and that's not healthy. And that actually was a reflection of the discontent that he felt all along. To understand what Glenn was about, he was a lead singer of his band. And upon joining Anvil, I asked him, before he even joined, are you going to be satisfied and content with being the backup vocalist? And he said yes. And then at the end of the day, it's what he was the most disappointed about, because he was no longer the center of attention. And that's what he was desiring, and he didn't have it. And that actually was the poison in which he left the band from. So when you look at it in retrospect, you can see, even though I had the wisdom to ask him those questions, it didn't help the situation, because down deep, I was correct. He's the lead singer of his band. He wants to be.
Right. Steve, we're going to have to wrap it up here. I'm running out of time and tape. One last question. How do we find out more about Anvil, and where can we buy Anvil music?
Well, you can buy Anvil music, pretty much all of it, on Amazon. The other thing is, you can go to if you Google Anvil band, you'll see that there's an Anvil homepage. I don't actually know the thing, but I would just suggest that, and as well, of course, the Anvil Facebook page is what we're running. But there's an Anvil homepage. It's run by our dear friend Tony Gallo, who's been running it since 1996. So all the information of what's available is all on that website. Every piece of merchandise that we have at this point, and where to buy the records.
Steve, it's been a pleasure, and continued good luck for Anvil, the group that just kept on rocking and nobody was going to stop them. So thank you very much, and good luck.
Okay, thanks. Have a good day.
Thank you for visiting with us today. This is Talking Books and Stuff with Dennis Rimmer. Contact him at dennis@talkingbooks.tk. Thank you, and may all the good news be yours. Oh, and don't forget to check out his book, The Great Canadian Notebook, available across Canada and at amazon.ca.